Being a freelancer can be a very exciting and unpredictable journey. But one thing that you need to bear in mind at all times is that you want to make sure you're consistent with the amount of clients you get, with the amount of revenue you get, and of course to have that creativity always flowing. Now, what we're going to talk about in this lesson will mostly cater to the freelancers in the creative industry. So whether you are a motion designer, web designer, graphic designer, illustrator, etc. But some of it can apply to, say, if you're a business consultant, a finance manager, and other positions. So Contra lets you do a lot of things automatically. There's templates for contracts, there's templates for services. Your portfolio is already made for you. You may think that you don't have to do much, but in order to take this a step further, it's important to understand the whole concept of being a freelancer. So you cannot rely on just one platform like this to basically make a living. If this is a part-time situation for you, then Contra may be enough. But I'm going to be talking about cases where you also have external clients, whether from word of mouth, your own personal website, a friend or something. You want to make sure that you're able to not only document everything like Contra does for you, but to make sure that there's evidence of all the transactions, of all the agreements, and basically set yourself right for the job. Obviously, we cannot ask the external clients to come on Contra before working with you because they have to make an account, and that whole tedious process may just make them go for something else. So in times like that, we want to have certain templates ready to provide to them via email and get the business going. There are standard templates all over the internet, but of course you can download and tweak them to make it your own. And I do suggest doing that just so it's more catered to your personal identity, because at the end of the day, you are a freelancer and that is a business. So you want to make sure everything's cohesive, everything is communicated well, and that starts with a strong foundation for documentation. So HubSpot has a lot of templates out there. Most of them are free. And there is this one page that has 17 different templates for freelancers. Now, you can just choose your agency over here and get the stuff that's suitable for your need. Let's see. So you can go for Google Docs just so you can edit them. There's mind maps. There's a business one-pager, but there's a lot of organization stuff that can help you communicate how you're going to make their project work to the client. So there's this decision tree. If, say, you're proposing two different things to your client, but they're not quite understanding what the main difference is, you can break it down like this and basically document that you've told the client the different outcomes depending on each decision. And this will just set you up in case something bad happens. We have job estimates, we have marketing proposals, and a lot of other stuff. There's also stuff for invoicing that you can look at. Now, if you want to invoice separately out of Contra, there is another platform that is fairly easy to use. So invoicely.com, it's free up to 3 clients, but you get to just delete one, add a new one, and so on and forth. So the way it works is that you make a template like this. You put in their address, your address, the date, the currency. You list the items below. Total comes here. And then there's usually a memo section down here where you get to put in your banking information for them to wire that amount to you. Invoicely is great because you can see all of the invoices you've sent. You can label them as paid, paused, canceled, and just see how much you're making in a month, in a year, or in a week. You can also upgrade and it will let you do more things. First things first is that it lets you customize the way your invoices look with a logo. And there are other stuff such as unlimited clients, tracking your work. And it's a really handy platform for freelancers. So there are templates for invoices, but I recommend using something like that just because there's automation and you get to keep all of your invoices in one place and refer back to them if you need to. Invoicely also does let you email a copy of that invoice to the client on the platform's behalf, so it looks more professional, but that sums up the invoice section. Now on Contra, you were able to make case studies freehand. You get to add a text block, an image block, but if you want to build case studies on your own, you're going to need a handy template. So there's stuff like this, but this depends on your industry. If it's something design-wise, you obviously want to have a lot of pictures with the process and all of that. But you could start with something like this if it's in a separate industry. A great place to have case studies outside of Contra is Behance, which the great thing about it is that you get to basically link it to your Contra. So whoever goes on Behance for your case studies can come to Contra for some other stuff too. So I'm going to look for design just to show you some case studies. Let me take a look at this one. There we go. So this is a great example. We have the name of the company, the client, a little bit about them, the assignment that they had to do, their solution, there's a team. You could also do this solo. And here are the pictures. So they have some animations, pretty engaging, some package designs, mock-ups, and logos, and a lot of stuff. So this is what you want your case studies to look like, both on Behance and on Contra. We also saw the other day that someone linked their entire Behance profile on Contra as a project. So that's another good thing that you can do. Basically, the way that would work is that you go to your just import content in seconds. So you copy your link and then you paste it here. It's not going to let me do it because I'm a viewer and that's not my project. But if I do it with one of photos, which is not a case study, it's going to have a similar result. Copy that, import content, paste. There we go. So it's going to let me do that because it's my project. But if you do it with your own design stuff that you've uploaded on Behance, all of them are going to show up here. You can title this project My Behance Portfolio and just link these two platforms. Behance is another place where you can also get clients. You can see there's a jobs section. You have your own profile. You have share your work. But I would say that it's not as concentrated as Contra is. So Behance is more on the community aspect where designers and creatives can just like communicate with another, have sort of like a feed where they see different works to get inspired, something like a combination between Instagram and Pinterest, basically. They recently added a job section, but it's obviously not as good as Contra yet. So hopefully it does improve. All right, so that's for case study. In terms of proposals, I would share templates, but the best thing is ChatGPT. We used it in one of the lessons, and you can tell it to give you a certain proposal within a certain word limit. If there's a niche, you can edit your response, and that's pretty straightforward. Now, by the end of this lesson, I do want you guys to take the time to create certain things for your freelancing business. The first one is a contract for a design job. So I actually didn't show that. Let's go with freelancer contract template. So there's tons of stuff out there. It really depends on which one you prefer. You can see even Wise has one. So download the one that looks the best to you. Make sure that you are able to edit them because you're going to need to add new pages and all of that. And over here, I want you guys to say this is the contract that we chose. I want you guys to put in your terms within this template. If you do things a certain way, if you have different pricing methods, different like compensations, add those in there. And have it ready for a potential client. So define your address, your full name, your company name, and have a template ready for each service that you do. That would be a separate contract for every service. So you can't really use one for all of them because that would be a lot of editing. So if you do multiple services, have multiple of these ready and have them ready to sign. You can use Adobe Acrobat for that. It's pretty easy to change things around, and it does a great job for getting signatures from that client. So you send it via an email. It sends it via an email, and you'll get notified once they signed it. And then you have proof that they've agreed to your service. So having your freelancer contract, your very own, one for each service, that's the first thing you should be doing. Secondly is having case studies for the different works that you've done. If you haven't done any works before, it's a great idea to go and look for fake clients just to have something to showcase your skills. People are not going to know that they're fake unless they ask you and they look them up, which doesn't happen very often. But take the time to do that. If you have existing clients, be sure to make case studies for them, either through the freestyling method that we had previous lesson by adding the blocks ourselves. You can go on the Discover page and look at how other people are doing it, get inspired, put them in the right order, generate a lot of mock-ups if you're working with something in the creative industry, and have case studies for all of your best projects. If it's not a project you're proud of, then it's better to not put it on there. As we saw, you can also put them on Behance and then just link them to your Contra. The third thing you want to do is to have a bunch of proposals ready to send to the client. So if you're looking for jobs on Contra, there was that box where you had to kind of sell yourself and convince them to choose you. You can formulate a bunch of engaging proposals. Especially the first sentence has to be engaging, and have those ready in a Google Doc or something where you can just copy and paste it and then just personalize it for that client. So 3 things. First was the freelance contract. Second is case studies. Third is proposals. Make sure you have all of that ready before you get into any sort of job, just to save yourself time and ensure that you're doing everything in the right order.